Example 5, simplifying before differentiating. We want to find the derivative with respect to x of the natural log of x plus 1 divided by the square root of x minus 2. So let's recall the definition of logarithms. Recall that the natural log of m divided by n is the definition. It states that we take the natural log of m and subtract the natural log of n. Okay, so in our example, we have the natural log of x plus 1 divided by the square root of x minus 2. So we know that this is going to then equal the natural log of x plus 1 minus the natural log of the square root of x minus 2. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to find the derivative of this function. So we want to find the derivative with respect to x of this logarithmic function, which is the natural log of x plus 1 minus the natural log of the square root of x minus 2. Okay, so now if we just take this step by step, we know that we're finding the derivative with respect to x of the natural log of x plus 1 minus the derivative with respect to x of the natural log of the square root of x minus 2. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to have to use the chain rule. Okay, so by using the chain rule, for the first one, we know that we end up having 1 over x plus 1 times the derivative with respect to x of x plus 1 minus, we have 1 over the square root of x minus 2 times the derivative with respect to x of the function x minus 2. Now remember, since this is the square root, this is raised to the 1/2. Okay, so now let's go ahead and write the next step. So we have 1 over x plus 1. Okay, what is the derivative with respect to x of x? Well, that's 1. The derivative of 1 is 0. So this is times 1 minus 1 over the square root of x minus 2. Okay. Now remember that if we want to find the derivative of this function, this is going to be 1/2 times x minus 2 to the negative 1/2. So let's start using some algebra now. So we know we have 1 over x plus 1 times 1, which is 1 over x plus 1, minus here, we're going to have 1 over, if we write this as the square root of x minus 2 times 1 over 2 times the square root of x minus 2. Okay, so now let's multiply that together. So we have 1 over x plus 1 minus, well, we have 1 in our numerator, okay? And the square root of x minus 2 times the square root of x minus 2 is going to be x minus 2. And then we're going to multiply it by the value of 2. So now from here, we want to be able to find an LCD so we can combine these fractions. Well, if we look at the denominators, we can see that the denominator has, a common denominator is 2 times x plus 1 times x minus 2, 2 times x plus 1 times x minus 2. So in the first denominator, what's missing from x plus 1? We got to multiply that by 2 times x minus 2. So we got to multiply the numerator times 2 times x minus 2. Okay, and over here, we need to multiply this denominator by x plus 1. Multiply the numerator by x plus 1. So 1 times x plus 1 is x plus 1. Okay, now, if we distribute and combine like terms, if we distribute the 2, then we get 2x minus 4. If we distribute the sign, we get minus x minus 1 over the common denominator of 2 times x plus 1 times x minus 2. And therefore, we end up with x minus 5 divided by 2 times x plus 1 over x minus 2. And therefore, there is the derivative of that function. Now, let's take a look at this graph. So if we take a look at the graph, this represents the function, and this is the derivative of that function. So this figure shows the graph of the function f of this example together with the graph of its derivative. It gives a visual check on our calculation. And notice that the derivative function is large, negative, when f is rapidly decreasing. So here it's large negative when this is rapidly decreasing.